Hi, my name is Michelle, and I'm part of the Learning and Development team here at JSX. I brought along Justin, who is the Manager of Talent Acquisitions and Development, to help introduce JSX to you. So, Justin, can you tell us a little about the history of JSX?
Sure, absolutely. So we were originally founded back in 2016. At that time, we were actually called Jet Suite X, and our very first route was between Burbank and Concord. So West Coast roots. Headquarters at the time were in Orange County in Irvine. And so we spent a few years building out our West Coast markets, proving our business model to our investors, building up a customer base, and really that brand loyalty and brand recognition. Once Burbank Concord kicked off, we expanded over to Oakland. Then we started flying out to Las Vegas. We later started flying in Orange County as well. And we continued to do that for a few years. So starting in 2018 really was the beginning of our growth. We relocated our headquarters to Dallas and opened the Texas market a couple of years later, and have continued to kind of organically march our way eastward. So if you look at our route map now, you'll see we are coast to coast, not quite connecting coast to coast yet, but coast to coast. And one thing that's been really exciting about our history is we've maintained a focus on our level of hospitality. And our net promoter score is something that's really cool, something that we're really proud of. You know, we're a hospitality company that flies planes, not to be confused with an airline. And the net promoter score is something that really separates us from the pack. You know, industry average is somewhere around 40, I believe. Here at JSX, we maintain a solid 85 or above, which really is a good testament to not just our product and how much our customers love the type of flying that we're doing, but also the work of our crew members and their commitment to customer experience and providing that high level of hospitality. The difference here is we're not trying to be the best, we're trying to be your favorite. And the best is something that you can debate, but if someone says it's their favorite, it's their favorite.
That is amazing. Can you explain how travel differs with JSX?
For sure. Well, to begin with, we like to call ourselves a hospitality company that happens to fly airplanes. We're not an airline. We look very similar to one, but we operate very differently. So kind of a fun way to think about us is if you took, say, your favorite airline, like maybe JetBlue, and combined it with a popular business jet company and blended them together to create a hybrid of the two, it would look something very much like JSX. So operationally, we operate on a fixed departure schedule in a fixed network, meaning you fly where we fly on our schedule, unlike True Charter, where you would tell us where you want to go when you want to go there. But when you arrive at the airport, that's where the JSX experience really differs from a traditional airline. So while we operate on the same airports that major companies fly out of, we're going to be on the private jet terminal. So most of our stations have valet. So from a customer experience, kind of what you could expect, show up to the airport 20, 30 minutes before departure, valet at the front door. When you walk into our lounges, they're bright open spaces with some light refreshments and snacks. You'll check in with our concierge staff. They will also double as our security. And so they'll get you all checked in, make sure you're all set to fly. We board about 15 minutes before departure. So it's a really quick, fast experience. The lounges are just comfortable enough to accommodate you for that 15, 20 minutes or so. The idea, again, not to show up hours in advance, but really spend most of your travel journey in the air and not on the ground. One of the things that we get asked a lot is because there's no visible security that it must not exist, and that could not be any further from the truth. In fact, we exceed what's required by us or from us from the TSA, but we accomplish it all without any of the unnecessary theatrics or invasions of your personal space. So everyone and everything is screened. But it's all done in a behind the scenes, touchless capacity for the most part. Once you're on board, everything is complimentary and included with your tickets. So that includes high-end spirits, beer, wine, gourmet snacks. Checked bags are free as well. We're very pet friendly. We love our VIPs, our very important pets. So depending on the size, that might also be complimentary, or if they're a little bit more full-figured, we'll call them. They might need a seat of their own, which is okay with us. My dog Bernie needs a seat of his own, but nonetheless, we still are able to accommodate them. So that's something that's really kind of cool, I think, about us is how pet friendly we are. Our sweet spot for routes is going to be usually about an hour, hour and a half. We do have some longer routes, especially on the East Coast, flying between Miami and New York. It's going to be a good 2.5 hour flight. Dallas out to Vegas, same thing, 2.5 hours. But really, if you look at our route map, today at least, most of our routes are going to be around an hour, hour and a half. What you look at our route map today is going to change. It might even change tomorrow. We're growing very, very quickly. When I started here, back in 2018, we had just accepted delivery of our 7th aircraft, and today we are flying 23. So lots of growth in just a few short years, and that's really going to be the trajectory as we continue on for the foreseeable future, is rapid growth. So hence why we're here hiring today.
That is so exciting. Tell me, what does it mean to hop on?
So, the concept kind of stems behind a rideshare service, right? Yeah, Uber. So when you are hailing a rideshare, regardless of if it's Uber, Lyft, Alto, whomever it might be, that word Uber, just like Google, has kind of morphed from a noun to a verb. So that's what we've tried to do with Hop On, is to give you an idea of what it means to fly us. Literally hop on a jet, right? Show up 15, 20 minutes before departure and hop right on board. Spend your time in the air, not on the ground.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, can you explain the culture at JSX?
Sure. Yeah, culture, vibe, as we call it, super important to us here. I think what you'll hear from most crew members, which is our universal term for employee, so regardless of if you fly a plane or fly a desk, you're a crew member. The vibe here is really an entrepreneurial spirit. We all wear a lot of hats. We all are looked upon for, our expertise, and we really do have that opportunity to influence and really drive change. Oftentimes, beyond what our normal day-to-day scope is. I've done a lot of things here at JSX that I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity to do at other companies, or things that are far outside of my job description as well. We really are in it together. We wear a lot of different hats. I'll never forget the time when we were operating charters, just right when the pandemic was beginning. We were operating repatriating flights. That's a word to say. From cruise passengers who were stranded off the coast of Brazil for about a month, I believe, and they were finally able to get clearance to come into the U.S. They took a commercial flight from Brazil to Dallas, and then we were picking them up in Dallas and taking them to their final destination. And so we literally had an armada of aircraft. It was fascinating. 3 o'clock in the morning, all of our sister companies' private planes were there. There was about 7 JSX planes that were there. And lo and behold, at that time, we weren't flying in Dallas. It was just our headquarters crew members. And so, how do we get bags on board? How do we cater the aircraft? And so, the day before, us crew members who were available to assist those customers, we were out Target purchasing blankets, facial wipes. I had to convince Target to sell me more wipes that exceeded the quantity, because if you remember back in the pandemic, everything was quantity and rationed out. Right. Next day, 3 o'clock in the morning, we're out there, and our vice president of flight ops looks at me and says, "How are we going to get these bags on board?" And I said, "Well, Mike, put your hands together, throw me in the cargo bin." So up I went. And so that's kind of the spirit of JSX is we're all in it together. We do whatever it takes for our customers and for ourselves. We're very much a work hard, play hard, and you definitely get out of JSX what you put in. One of my favorite things here is the ability to move the needle and to really see impact. So it's definitely a lifestyle here at JSX.
Lifestyle. So would you consider yourself a lifestyle carrier?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, definitely lifestyle carrier. It's we're so unique in not only the way that we operate and the type of flying that we do, but just the way that we treat each other and the way that we go about operating, in our day-to-day. There's a big focus on crew member engagement and crew member experience and providing tools and resources for yourself to grow, not just professionally, but personally as well. We're a super transparent company. We have our weekly updates that go out. We have quarterly all hands. Our senior leadership is really involved and in the station. Here at headquarters, we are an open door policy because we don't, as you know, have doors. We all sit in cubicles. Even my boss, who's the chief HR officer, or corporate soul, as we would call it. Everyone is in the operation and available to assist. It's something that's really, really cool. I think it takes somebody who is open for that challenge for sure. Operating in our type of environment where you have a lot of influence and resources are available, but you really are expected to be able to choose what you need and use what you need when you need it. It takes someone who's open to living in the gray, but I personally love it.
It sounds lovely. It really does. So I've got one more question for you, Justin. Can you tell me about your community initiatives?
Yeah, sure. That's one of my favorite things about working here at JSX. Definitely our community initiatives and us partnering with the communities that we operate in is something that I'm very passionate about, and I know is shared by a lot of our crew members. We're big supporters of several different special interest groups in aviation, OBAP, the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, Women in Aviation, the Latino Pilot Association, and GPA, the National Gay Pilot Association as well, just to name a few. We also are big partners with the autism community, Minis, which is a local food pantry in Dallas, and then we have a whole separate arm that works with several different colleges and universities, and we work with their career services departments to help, prepare students for their next career, their first career, and not just in aviation, in any industry. It's really about us going into these schools saying we want to be a resource to you. Use our resources. And then going back to some of the special interest groups, NGPA, that's something that's really huge for the type of industry that we are in. JSX is a Part 135 carrier, charter, scheduled charter, but charter nonetheless. And that's an industry or a part of the industry that hasn't historically been very inclusive to the LGBT community. And it was something that was a big concern of mine whenever I was being recruited for this role. And I'll share a quick story here. It's one of my favorites to highlight. But when I was beginning initial conversations to join the company, one of the first things I said was, hey, I've been in this industry for a long time, always airlines, and I've heard that the stigma behind 135s is that they're not inclusive. And I'll be the first to admit I am an openly gay man with a husband and a four-legged child. If I'm talking to my coworkers around the office, am I going to be able to be me? Can I be authentic? Or is that something that's not going to be encouraged? And I was really surprised by my now boss's answer. Of course, he gave me the answer I expected. Yes, we're inclusive, blah, blah, blah. But he followed that up with an opportunity to help change the narrative and to partner with organizations and show that the stigma doesn't fly here at JSX.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. And so, to be part of an organization that is not just accepting, accepting is being invited to the party, right? but to be included. And to be celebrated, that's something entirely different, and that's something that I like here at JSX. The door is not just opened for you. The table is set and the conversations are genuine. We want to hear what interests you. We want to know how we can support what interests you, and that's really what helps drive our growth and makes this place something that's really special.
Well, there we have it. Thanks, Justin, for walking us through history, culture, and the vibe of JSX.
Definitely.